Welcome to another edition of the channel's Mailbag. So what is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is the part of the channel that you guys actually control. It's based on comments, questions, general feedback that you guys leave either on the YouTube channel, the website, or through one of my social media feeds. Mailbag contains what I think the answer is, what I think my view of the comment is, or sometimes, I just throw it out to the wider audience and say, what do you guys think? That's what Mailbag is. So let's get in to the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment question comes from David Bone. And this was in response to the D20 Part 1 assessment video I did in April 2026. Can't believe I did that assessment in April. Anyway, David writes, so far there has not been a USB Gotek floppy replacement for the D20. Apparently Roland opted for an Oddball non-standard interface for the D20 between the disk drive and the motherboard. Whether or not there is any progress on this seems very unlikely. Roland weren't the only ones that did Oddball configurations, is all I can say. I've come across a number of disk drives fitted to machines where, rather than having a standard 34 pin connector, which was kind of adopted on most PCs, they went for weird connectors that connected disk drives to computers in some, or synthesizers in some very Oddball ways. Normally requiring you to do some sort of modification between the floppy drive and the computer or the synthesizer, especially in terms of how the cabling works. And I'm not surprised that Gotek and Nalbantov, which are kind of the two disk drives that service this market. If it's out of the ordinary, they're not really interested in it. And there are some people out there that will come along and they will modify the Gotek or the Nalbantov drives so that you can use them on some of these Oddball configurations. Because it's not only the drive, the drive itself has to be able to work with a non-standard format disk. So for example, EPS, I know you can get a Nalbantov drive for an EPS for argument's sake, but the EPS is the 800K format, not a 720K format, which is a PC format. And some of the other machines are Oddball formats as well, especially on kind of the double-sided double density. Not so much when you get to the sort of the double-sided high density. But having said that, some manufacturers did go down the sort of 1.6 megabyte route in terms of how the drives were formatted rather than 1.44, which again was the PC format. So we will find out what's wrong with my D20 when I get into that particular video, and you'll see the steps I went through to bring that disk drive back to life, or not bring that disk drive back to life. You'll have to watch and see. But there was a number of things that needed to be done on the Roland D series. I did the D20 and the D10 as a parallel series, if you like, both going through at the same time, and just cleaning the machines up, tack switches, displays, all that kind of stuff has to be brought up to spec. So there's a number of steps that just need to be worked through to be able to get the machines back to rude health. And as the videos are falling, I think, you know, you're probably not going to see some of these videos until probably Christmas 2026 because of how they are falling in terms of the release schedule. So David then wrote back and said, you know, two 220s I have, both need new belts, SY85-2, reckon the belt drive from the era will be the same. Keen to follow progress on this. Well, just keep glued. There are videos coming through. I've just kind of decided I'm not just going to release videos. I took this decision a while back. You know, I will only release the videos to YouTube every other week, and there is a delay on YouTube releases so that people who are sponsoring me on Patreon can see the videos early and do get something for that sponsorship and support that you give me on Patreon. More people to sponsor me on Patreon would be lovely, but that's the reality of where we are. Next comment question comes from CN Fuzz. And this was in response to Roland. I'm just looking at the question, that's why I'm smiling. The Roland R-8 Beautiful Made Device Mailbag I did in June 2026. And CN Fuzz says, it sweats plastic like Camembert when older, plus the buttons certainly need to be replaced. The power supply is not of fairly good quality though. So there's one positive on the R8. Yeah, the Roland R8, I agree the plastic can be absolutely horrid if you manage to get hold of a tired unit. And depending on how heavy the drum machine was used, the plastic tabs and the tack switches also may need work. But the biggest issue with these devices is the strike pads. These are quite proprietary, the way that they've been sandwiched and the gel pack. Now the gel pack will take some damage, I give it that. But if that's damaged, then you're pretty much on a hide into nothing after that one, because there's no way you can repair that. Well, I can't see a way of repairing it, put it that way. I had a jolly good look at mine when I was doing the restoration video on the R8, or the videos on the R8 should I say. The other thing, in terms of the plastic itself, you've got a couple of options there. One is you're never going to repair the plastic coating, alright, so you know, might as well forget that. So if you are going to do a repair and you're going to put a vinyl wrap on it, you need to sand that all back, get rid of all the plastic horribleness, effectively sand it with, you know, probably quite rough paper to get the plastic off, and then sort of slowly go up through the kind of wet and dries until you end up with a very, very fine grade paper to get it to a very smooth surface. And then the wrap, the vinyl wrap, if you're going to go down that route, will sit on that very nicely and give your machine a new lease of life from that perspective. The alternative is to find somebody, and I do know somebody who does this, that will take it back, respray it and then redeco it. It's not a cheap process, but it will make the machine look absolutely sparkly again.